Teaching number 74. It is the propitious hour in which by your elevation I make my manifestation felt among humanity. Listening to me separates you from the world to enter into spiritual recollection. Really feel that you are before my table, waiting for me to distribute the bread and offer you the wine. You know that I speak to you in a figurative sense, reminding you of my word of the second era, since the bread is my word and the wine is the divine essence that is in it. Bread and wine, body and blood, manna and water, all this has been the representation of the words love and life that is the eternal sustenance of your spirit. The manna from the desert and the water from the rock represented in their time the bread and wine of the Spirit. They are the same symbols that I took at the table. When surrounded by my disciples, I told them, eat and drink, this is my body and this is my blood. With that lesson I opened before humanity a new era, that of love. Today new disciples gather around me and the multitudes follow my footsteps again, but it is no longer only the figurative sense or the parable the means by which I come to make you understand the divine lessons. It is the clear word that speaks to your mind with a divine essence that only with the Spirit you can perceive. Meditate on these lessons, disciples, and you will end up understanding that the time of figurative meaning and symbols is about to end, because your spiritual evolution and your mental development allow you to better understand the truth. I am among you though you cannot touch me with your hands or look at me with your mortal eyes. I come in spirit to speak to you and to teach you how you should seek me in your prayer. I will not leave any material trace of my new manifestation, just as I did not leave it in the second era despite having lived among you. Humanity is prone to idolatry and to consecrate material objects to consider them divine and make them the object of their adoration. What would have become of humanity, if you had been able to keep my body, the cross of my martyrdom or the chalice of that Last Supper with my disciples? But everything was erased so that only my divine essence would remain in the spirit of humanity. In times past I also removed from the sight of men both the objects that had served as symbols, as well as the envoys or interpreters. In the first era, while Moses was on a mountain, he disappeared from his people who idolized him. Elijah, the prophet of fire, was lost in a cloud that snatched him from the earth. One and the other, like Jesus, only left in the spirits the imprint of their works as a spiritual essence. Now I am here in fulfillment of one of my promises, bringing together all the tribes in one people and men of different races in one apostolate. I am bequeathing to humanity a testament full of more light and clarity. Look how religious fanaticism has reached its greatest height in some of my children, while in others, materialism and lack of faith have taken hold of their spirit. Great and bloody is the fight that awaits both of them until the light shines again among men, making them feel the true peace that comes from their love for one another. Faced with a true chaos of passions and ideas, the people who are witnesses and bearers of new teachings will have to rise up. To be believed, it will be necessary to prepare and clothe yourself with humility, obedience, spirituality, strength and charity. Do not fear the storm, beloved disciples, because I will be with you inside the boat, and if you have faith in me you will not perish. You will fight full of faith, considering that just as you had the joy of receiving my word, all your brothers deserve to know it, because there are already many who are waiting for it. Do not say that my doctrine is difficult to practice or that it forces you to hard privations. He who follows me with love does not feel the weight of his cross. This is my word, engrave it in your spirit, because soon you will need it. The ringing of the sonorous bell has awakened you, its echo has resounded in your spirit, and then you have remembered that this is a day of grace in which your teacher appears among you. You have risen up in a hurry with the desire to hear this divine word, which is life for your spirit and fills your heart with courage. Truly, my word has been revealing to you the path that the whirlwinds of life had hidden from you. Understand how close I am to you as I am to all men. My light is with everyone. In this time, many spirits will follow the path of light and will no longer be confused. You would be surprised if you saw that the hard-hearted and stiff-necked are the ones who get up soonest to follow my footsteps, but it is that I have given each one the necessary time to awaken to the light of spiritual life. How many hardened in sin have come in this time to listen to my word, and before I have finished my lecture, bathed in tears, they have told me, "It is you, Master." It is that my clean, sweet and persuasive word has known how to speak to the hearts of those. And I tell you that he who once felt my presence will not be able to deceive himself with false appearances. You who have heard me at this time, prepare yourselves so that you know how to give testimony of me, because you have to show my doctrine as I have revealed it to you and not at your whim or will. Just as you had a friend on your way to give you the good news, so all this humanity that perishes in a world of hardships will also receive the notice that the Lord is present and will come to listen to me. What would become of you if in my mercy I did not shorten the days of your affliction? You would have all perished by now. In this era I come in search of sinners to give them a task in my divine work and to tell them that my love has never excluded them. Tomorrow, how much satisfaction and joy there will be in those spirits when they have reached elevation through the practice of charity. There is a love in infinity, which is that of the Father, who has no more interest than that of your salvation and that you reach eternal peace. Since 1866 I opened again the ark of my love, which has overflowed in you as consolation and revelation. I have not waited for the day of my departure to tell you until then to get up to practice my teachings, but from the first moment you heard them I have told you, do charity, bring comfort to the sick, speak of my new manifestation. Attract the needy and the lost. It is that I have not wanted you to become theoretical disciples, who speak wonders of my work and who are not capable of extending their arms to touch the sick and calm their sorrow. Isn't it true that your heart has been filled with joy when the dying person has been brought back to life by your care and prayers, hearing that his lips bless you? The time is near when these children of mine cease to transmit my word to you. I am leaving and the Master will no longer give you this teaching. I want that by then, the feeling of charity has been refined in your heart and spirituality has penetrated your life. Elijah, your spiritual shepherd, announced my coming to you and also prophesied to you the day of my departure. My word, which is simple and humble in its form, is deep in its content and will be so until the last day. Do not ask me to speak to you with flowery words because your spirit does not need them to understand my teaching. I know those who are practicing my doctrine according to my will and those who are moving away from its essence. Nothing is hidden from my wisdom, and in truth I tell you that if you want to reach me, come by the ladder of love, charity, justice and humility. Do not want to convert this spiritual work into a material work hoping to see its fruits here on earth. Do not doubt the triumph of my doctrine, have faith in it and you can turn the plains into mountains and the deserts into valleys. Remember that in the second era when Jesus expired on the cross abandoned by his disciples, except for John, they came to think that everything had ended. However, later the divine seed began to germinate in the hearts, which could not die because at every step it was watered by the blood of the martyrs, blood that was love and faith. I tell you that at this time my divine seed must be watered with works of charity, with tears of repentance and reconciliation. At this time I came to free you from a new slavery, the temptations, the pleasures, the vices that are like the cruel and tyrannical Pharaoh who has burdened you with chains. This new liberation tomorrow will be celebrated by humanity, not with feasts or traditions, but with spiritual love for one another. The victims that you offered before the altar of Jehovah were received by him, but it was not the most appropriate way to elevate your spirit to the Lord. It was then that I came to you as Jesus to teach you the divine commandment that tells you, love one another. I tell you now that the lessons that I taught you in the second era through the works of Jesus have been altered at times and other times misinterpreted. That is why I have come as I announced to you, to clarify my truth. My sacrifice of that time prevented the sacrifice of many victims and taught you a more perfect worship. My new manifestation of that time will make humanity understand that you must not take symbolic forms without first analyzing their meaning, since they are only a representation of my lessons. Before I am felt by a heart, Elijah appears before him to tell him to repent of his sins because the Lord is coming. He did the same in the second era through the Baptist when he ordered them to do penance and purify themselves because the kingdom of heaven was drawing near. My charity reaches at this moment the spirit and heart of the multitudes who listen to me. This is the announced time in which the Spirit of truth was to descend among men. Hear his voice in infinity, look at him in the invisible, feel him in your heart. My love and my inspiration help your spirit to rise and receive my teachings. Men misinterpreted my law and falsified my teachings. That is why in this time I come to shed my light in every spirit and in every mind, so that the lesson that I have given you through life may come to be understood. This world that has been the home of imperfect beings, of spirits in atonement, will be a mansion of light and spirituality. Today my justice is cleaning the lands and cutting the weeds by the roots to exterminate them with the fire of restitution and love. The fratricidal wars prophesied since past times make you shudder day by day. Their rumors worry you and their consequences make you shed tears. Those men who make wars with their ambitions and their hatreds are my children who look for me in altars and adore me in tabernacles without realizing that instead of an offering of love they come to offer me the blood of their victims. Ah, blind men who in their pride feel absolute, forgetting that they are very small before my divinity. Human vanity has reached its limit, and it is necessary that I make you feel my presence and my power. It is not necessary for me to use all my omnipotence to prove my greatness to you. A slight touch or a slight breath of the elements is enough for me to show the foolish and vain man his smallness. As the golden calf was abolished at that time, so will the worship of wealth disappear, and just as the merchants were thrown out of the temple, so will those who, taking advantage of weakness and ignorance, profit from the pain of their fellow men, will now be touched. Men have engaged in a fight with their Lord, but wherever they go they find me blocking the path to their wickedness. But those who in that struggle ignore the voice of their conscience find death and judgment, and after that restitution. O disciples who hear me, scrutinize the revelation of the sixth seal. There you will find how much you are looking at, hearing and living today. But if you have faith in my word, analyze it and keep it in your heart, because the year 1950 is near when you will stop listening to my voice in this way. A whirlwind envelopes mankind, but in truth I tell you that my word does not come to increase your confusion. It is the light that comes to guide your spirit and illuminate your intelligence to help you in your spiritual evolution. I am with you again, reminding you of your mission of love among humanity, while Elijah penetrates everywhere in search of lost sheep to bring them to the fold on his shoulders, so that there they find the love of their Creator. Remember that I am the path that invites the one who has forgotten. I am pouring out my word in you so that tomorrow you bear witness to it with your works of love. Many will come in search of the humble houses where I manifested myself to make you remember the times in which I spoke to you through the spokesman, so that you can explain to them the way in which I manifested myself and the charities and wonders that I performed among you. Only the memory will remain under these roofs, because my word and its echo will remain kept in your heart. That is why I find myself preparing the youth, so that they are the ones who receive those who did not listen to my word and who come in search of charity. How many will cry for not having heard me? But I also tell you, how many of those who heard me will cry for not having prepared themselves, and seeing that my word is no longer manifested, will understand that they did not take advantage of the Father's charity to learn his divine doctrine, his lessons of infinite charity and love. These will direct their gaze towards the place where the spokesman took a seat to interpret the divine word, and they will only contemplate the void. The years pass fleetingly, they are like instants. Soon you will stop hearing me. That is why I tell you, let me heal you, caress and comfort you, and give you my teaching. I came to leave you prepared, but if you remain weak in faith and will, then you will remain sick, and who in the world will be able to speak to you, teach you, and heal you as I did? If I told you that I have always wanted to communicate directly with your spirit, making my voice heard in your heart, you would not believe me, but your materiality and your doubt made the Lord communicate through certain understandings prepared by my love, so that in that way you could hear me, and by analyzing my teaching you would understand the greatness of my charity. If I tell you that your spirit, during the sleep of your body, sometimes detaches itself and approaches the threshold of the beyond and looks for me, you would doubt it, but you have lacked preparation and faith to know how to take advantage of those instants spiritually, and I have had to prepare seers and prophets to help you and speak to you about tomorrow, to alert you and admonish you, so that you watch and pray. Do you believe, people, that this man through whom I communicate is the one who gives you the word? No, my children, it is your master. Do you believe that the Spirit of God is within the speaker while he speaks? Neither. I have told you that a ray of my light is enough to illuminate and inspire your mind, putting on your lips an inexhaustible torrent of words of great teaching, as proof for the unbeliever. Listen carefully to me during this time so that you will be strengthened for the times of trial to come. Before receiving my spiritual presence, you have prayed before your heavenly Mother to ask her to help you prepare a sanctuary for me in your heart. For this I bless you, disciples. Hear my word that is the path that leads to the perfect, to the eternal. You ask me, what are the divine mansions and the life of perfect beings like? Truly I tell you, do not ask what you could not understand for now. Practice my laws, that practice will take you step by step through the scale of perfection, from which you will be able to contemplate, admire, and know how much the Father has in store for the happiness of His children. Your spirit, having been an inhabitant of the spiritual valley, has seen very little and knows almost nothing of that life. How do you want from here to contemplate the thresholds of what you call glory or heaven? The eyes of your body, when they have reached the most to contemplate the closest stars, your science has not taken you much further in your spirit, which is the one that could abolish distances and discover what is invisible to man, feeling inside and outside of itself, the spiritual knowledge that surrounds it, allows itself to be dragged by the materialism of the world, merges with its matter, and instead of rising, it crawls, and instead of admiring, it doubts. Sometimes, admiring the wonders of creation, you exclaim in amazement, Lord, how great is your power, without imagining that everything that surrounds you is nothing but a pale reflection of what eternal life is. Certainly I want to awaken your interest in spiritual life with my words, but understand what I am saying. In order to reach that life, you must reach it through the evolution of your spirit and not only through the evolution of your mind. Let them unite with the spirit, the intelligence, the heart, the senses, and all your powers, and you will reach the necessary elevation to be able to look at the splendor of your Father. But if the spirit trusts and surrenders to the capacity of understanding, then its penetration will be limited, as is everything human. Heaven is not a particular place in the universe. My glory is everywhere, spiritually and materially. Do you not say that God is in heaven, on earth, and everywhere? Then understand what you say so that you know that where God is, His glory must be. I want you to come to live in that infinite mansion, that you reach a state of spiritual elevation, that wherever you are in the universe, you feel the bliss of the divine, that you enjoy eternal life and experience the presence of the Creator. That summit has only been reached by those who have taken me for an ideal, and love for a path. Whoever understands this doctrine will have to recognize that this world is only a small place that has momentarily retained the Spirit to reveal elementary teachings. From the earliest times a torch of faith burns to illuminate the path of men with its spiritual light, but how few have been guided by it. How few have persevered on the path, and how many, upon reaching that crossroads where death stops them, have had to present themselves before the spiritual, which is the true homeland of the Spirit, as if they were foreigners, without knowing the ways or the laws, nor homework. How unfair you have been to yourselves. Today I have been explaining my teachings so that you retrace your steps and take the path of true life with the knowledge of the end you are pursuing, and when death comes to free you from the flesh, your spirit can rise and reach the spiritual home without being surprised by embarrassment, as something worse than death. Knowing all this, you will be able to live convinced that you are passengers on earth, infants who had to go through this school. Do not deny your envelope, no matter how reluctant and rebellious it may be, nor abhor having to endure the life of this world, which you have considered as a deceitful Eden full of temptations and abysses, because that flesh that you carry as an apparatus to inhabit this earth, it will not be an obstacle to your spiritual elevation, or to lead a virtuous life if you manage to overcome your weaknesses, passions, and miseries, to let the seed of spirituality germinate only in your heart. By then, this earth and the nature that surrounds it has reserved new lessons and also secrets that future generations will have to know. It will no longer be the pain of the master that corrects men, nor wars that touch the pride of peoples, nor misery that purifies the heart of humanity. Other lessons, unknown until now, will be received by the men of those times that I am announcing to you today. Bless your pain, do not dry your tears with courage, bless your bread however poor it may be, because however long your pain seems to you here in the world, when you are in the spiritual life, you will feel as if it had been a minute, and you will recognize all the good that it did you. Heaven is the state of perfection. I have symbolized it to you as an immense and white city that you have to conquer with your courage, with your faith and with your unwavering will. Be soldiers of that cause. Unite all of you who already nourish that ideal and march step by step, winning battles in life, until you make that city surrender to those who conquered it with their love. That city is your home, that home is the endless universe, where the Creator dwells with His children. Carry my word in your heart, and there, in the solitude of your bedroom or in the peace of the fields, remember it and analyze it. Be the good disciple. To those of you who have had the grace to listen to me in this way, I tell you, keep my word, analyze it, put it into practice in your life, because soon it will stop being heard. I want that when this happens, you remain as teachers, firm in my doctrine and not as confused disciples, or as children who feel like orphans. Today you can still call the multitudes to listen to my manifestation. Tomorrow, when 1950 has passed, you will only hear the voice of my disciples and witnesses. Do not distrust men, no matter how hard and fanatical you see them in their worships. Every spirit is evolved and in time to receive these revelations. Disciples, understand and accept your mission with that love and obedience with which Jesus took His destiny. Pray, watch, patiently drain the chalice of bitterness and know how to carry your cross with love. Interiorly bless everything and forgive from the heart with works those who offended you. Blessed are those who tell me between tears, Master, I offer you my pain, may your will be done in me. My will is that you have my peace, O suffering and poor people, but forget your sorrows for a few moments and pray for the world, pray for the nations, love one another. My peace be with you. Teaching number 75.